And we are live. We are live. We're back to the Holin None Podcast. Boys, it's been an absolutely hectic week for me. I feel like it's been so long since our last pod. I feel like there's been so much golf, and I've been barely able to keep up. Um, it was nice to get a round in last week, Dan. And I have to ask you something, Hayden, because we had a bit of a chat on the course, me, Dan, and Matt. And by the way, Matt is probably one of the best off the tee players I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know if he was having a good day or what it was, but longest driver I've ever seen, right? And he doesn't look like he's got a ton of power, but he just smashes it. He drove 2 greens on the ball. I couldn't and especially the 18th, I couldn't even believe it. Anyway, so props to Matt. Fan of the pod.
Yeah.
But we had a little chat on the golf course, right? And I just need to get your opinion on this before we get into the golf.
Yeah.
So it's getting a bit cold out, and I was talking to Matt on the tee, and I said, he was saying he started to put the air conditioning on a bit of heat at night, and I said, oh yeah, I've been doing the same thing, and I said, oh, what do you set it to? About 22? He's like, yeah, 22. And then we asked Danny Bidness, oh, what do you set it to? He goes, 26 degrees. The man is sleeping in 26-degree heat.
No. I am not sleeping in it. I wake up at like 5 a.m. and then crank it because it's been off all night. That's the difference. So I'm trying to blast it to heat the room up. I know it's probably warmer than some would like, but I've got a big living area and it's full of tiles. It's cold.
I mean, because you got the blankets you're sleeping under and stuff too. I feel like you'd be a pile of sweat waking up in the morning. Anyway, I just thought it was a bit interesting. I thought I'd get your take on that.
We have the air conditioning running in our house from October through till like April. So that's keeping it cold. Basically, it's turned off. We will put the heat pump on maybe if it's like crazy cold. But other than that, no. I've got windows open out there. We're a cold house. So
okay.
It is warm tonight though.
Both Matt and I have a 5-month-old, right? So it was more about keep making sure that she's warm. But yeah, 26, man. Like,
yeah,
I know.
So 26 is that's really, really hot. I think that you can I just pretty much run like 22 year round if I need to. If it's cold, I run 22, and if it's hot, I run 22.
22 solid number all year round. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, definitely. I'd be a sweaty mess if there was anywhere near 26. I'd be no thanks.
Okay. Well, now that we've confirmed that, I think we jump right into the golf chat and talk about what turned out to be, I think, a great event on the weekend. I think it was good for Australia, seeing Jason Day take away the win. But I think there was a lot of good golf played from a lot of other players as well. You did see some kind of names creep up the leaderboard that you hadn't really seen a lot of. And I did have to say my favorite, Adam Scott, was doing quite well as well. He was hot with the putter. We talked about this last week. Maybe there was some skepticism about whether or not he was good with the putter. I think I looked at strokes gained after the match. I think he was at like 2.5, almost gaining 3 strokes on his putting this time up. So we'll get into the bar, and also want to cover off Scotty Scheffler's play, number 2 in the world. We'll look up and down the leaderboard to see who moved, who didn't make the cut this time, and kind of how we finished. We'll talk about LIV Golf, who are in Tussla this week. We'll see in Oklahoma. We'll see. Is it Tussla? Tussla, did I say right?
It's Tulsa, but
Tulsa.
I knew the moment I said it was wrong. Yeah. I'm not American, so it's not my fault. And then finally we'll have a bit of a chat about how the DP World Tour is doing. So boys, I'll jump right in. Jason Day, huge fan of the pod. We talk about him. I think we talked about him the last three pods we've had. How happy are we to see him at the top of the leaderboard this time?
Yeah, big time. I mean, the joy when the post game interview, when they're sort of interviewing him, he's talking about his mom, he's talking about his family. The whole family was there. It just so happened to finish on Mother's Day. Like we should have seen it coming. Like the writing was on the wall.
It seemed too good to be true, right?
It did. Big money. Like what did he work out? He's earned $4 million and 4.5 this year, and he's earned like 5 point something in the last 6 or something. So just crazy. Like good on him. Just like I said last week, an absolute genuinely good guy. like well respected on tour. Yeah, couldn't have been happier for a bloke.
I think too, for me, it was kind of like growing up. It's hard to believe that we're almost the same age, right? I feel like I've watched him my whole life growing up, and I feel like he's been in the golf game um, basically as long as I've been alive. But it's crazy because around 2018, which was his last win, he did really start to fall off. And I remember when we kind of got back into the golf during COVID, he had that. It was almost like an MTV Cribs episode on YouTube. I can't remember the name of it, but I think we all watched that episode.
I think
and
PGA Memes went to his house.
Yeah. And I think we all just were like, oh my God, Jason Day, that's right. Like, I really want him to win again.
Yeah.
And since then, yeah, just rooting for him to get better. And it's good to see him get better and better. I mean, if a man completely changes his swing after having such severe back issues, the things with his mom, I think he mentioned that he was going through vertigo. I didn't know he was going through vertigo. I know how hard that can be. My dad's going through that a bit. So he hasn't had an easy go of it the last few years. So I mean, I think everyone's happy. It's a better world with Jason Day at the top.
Agreed.
He firstly his shirt today was on point. I love that. The was it the pink flower shirt? It was all time. And yeah, obviously the story works out perfectly. I don't think you could look down that leaderboard and have a better winner. But you know, the thing about Aussies that compete in these big events. I remember it a lot last year when Cam Smith was winning a few things. Like you really ride every shot, or I find that I ride every shot more so than when like Abraham wins or even someone else that I care about. And when he was in that deep rough in 18, you know, we're messaging each other. We're like, he's got to lay up. Obviously, he knows 1,000 bajillion times more than we do about golf, but we're like, he has to lay up here, you know. And then to see him do that perfect layup and just absolutely stuff a wedge to one putt for the win was just a, you know, a really, really good watch. And then you know he's going to get emotional. And I think it was it this comp was the last time he won a comp as well, or was it his first win ever or something like that? Was the Byron Nelson's? There was some.
Yeah, 13 years ago.
Win?
It was his 13th win, and he won there 13 years ago.
Yeah, and also it was Jordan Spieth was the youngest ever guy to qualify that same. He was 16 and qualified or something like that. So there's like a whole lot of history all wrapped up into the same thing. And like I said, it does make you feel a bit older when he's been around forever. But just a really good thing to wake up to and watch this morning. Yeah. Great fun.
I also liked because I had to, as you guys know, I had to watch it kind of not live in my own time, which made it not as exciting for me. But I did really appreciate that last shot when he sunk the birdie for the win at the end. Did you see him walk to his family? Like, he just looked like the man. Honestly, it reminded me of Dustin Johnson. I actually got a bit choked up, like when he went to his family and just gave solid hugs to like all the kids and stuff. Thought it was a very special moment.
It's not often now that I will get up off my seat and stand and do this. And I did that when he stuffed that wedge, when he threw that dart in. And I think Cassandra was standing next door to me, and she was happy for him because, you know, the whole family thing was there, and just it was fantastic.
I mean, how many of us?
So I was gonna say the last time that I did that exact same thing was, I think it was Cam Smith putting in Hawaii to win, like at the beginning of last year. So that's what I mean, like with these Aussies that we really care about, you like really ride every single shot. And you know, I remember me and Tom standing up for that one, doing the exact same thing. Like so often you physically cheer for golf, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, how many of us would put a wedge that close and miss the putt when the pressure was on? Like, good for him. He didn't even hesitate.
Put a wedge that close. I don't think how many of us would put a wedge that close? Probably not.
Yeah, that's probably fair as well. So what do we think about Scheffler's play then?
And I tell you, Scotty, he was. I said in the chat, I thought he was about like 70-80% all weekend, and he finished fifth. Like, was it fifth? I think T5. T5, man, and he was 6 under today. Dave finished 9 under. Scotty missed putts. He was in the bunker on 18. Like, he was just, man, he even just a little 5% difference, he probably wins that. He was playing bad and he was good. It's terrifying.
If you look at the stats, he actually did quite well off the tee and his approach shots and everything. But his strokes gained for putting minus half a stroke to the field. So that's really, you know, that's really not normal for Scotty.
Yeah.
And they said at the end, right? He's like, I had a bad round today, and the broadcaster's like, I wish 65 was a bad round for me. But then I think that comes back to like some of these events that we're watching at the moment. There's a lot of very, very low scores, right? And that's why I'm happy for next week, where hopefully we can see like a -4, -5 take something away rather than these 20s.
I mean, I think if I was in Scotty's shoes, like I think he was playing well enough that he could have won if the putting was on. So for him, I think he had lots of opportunities and he realized that he squandered them and could have easily won if he hadn't.
Yeah. I mean,
if he makes that putt,
yeah. Even if you're that good, right? Golf will sneak up on anybody.
Yeah.
The thing with Scotty and him coming fifth, I think I said last week, and I feel like I need to call myself out. I've made a mistake about having like, Finau wins, but there's little asterisks because all these people aren't there. But like, I think it's the opposite now. As long as one of them is there and someone wins, it means a lot. Like, Scotty wasn't there and Rory wasn't there when Finau won, and Rahm's not there when JD wins. I think it's the opposite. And I was wrong, and I'll put my hand up. I think it means a lot, and it is legit. It was a hard field, and he deserved it. So yeah.
What's crazy is that when we were talking last week about the field versus the big guns, the good picks on the big guns, like all of them were up there. So it's crazy how much of a spread there is between the best in golf and I won't say the worst in golf, but the not so best in golf. Those guys the cream always rises to the top, which is crazy for any sport, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a sport exactly like golf too, where it takes no prisoners whatsoever. We've had a fair bit of luck with that big guns versus field. I mean, it's kind of like playing the field in craps, right? You're just giving yourself a better spread, I guess. I think we've lost 1 and won 4 in the last 5 tournaments in our betting chat. So yeah, I mean, it'll be real interesting in a major where the talent is A and B class, not sort of A through F. So it'll be interesting to see what the big guns are this week.
That's part of the reason I didn't include it in our bets this week, was because we have got no idea of who they're going to put. And sometimes I think with majors, they don't even do big guns versus field. They might like lump 5 guys together and just say these people or they'll say who's going to win except for blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I think the last major was like, it was like Scotty, Rahm and Morikawa and Fleetwood or something. But that leaves your JTs, your Spieths, all these other guys. Rory. Yeah. So, I think
I can tell you, I can tell you right now, coming into the next major, there's a lot of guys that are really trending. Jason Day, Adams, like a lot of Australian guys. Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, I think Scheffler's still easily able to win, but there's a lot of guys who've been under the radar now for a bit whose games are really strong. So I think there could be some definite upsets.
Yeah. And I mean, I think last week I mentioned there was 6 of the top 30 at Byron Nelson this week. Spieth dropped out, became 5, but I didn't feel like it. There was enough talent there and the course was good and the golf was good that I didn't feel like I was watching and those people were missing.
Yeah.
As long as they're playing well. And just before we jump off the Aussies, I know we're not going to cover it today, but a quick shout out. Minjee Lee won the LPGA event today. So while we're on the Aussies, another great win for Minwoo's sister.
Yeah.
I guess Minwoo is Minjee's brother, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. The names are sometimes hard to keep up with. I always confuse the two, but I did want to go back to Jason for a second. Did he give a bit of a diss to TaylorMade? Did you hear his putter comment?
I missed it.
So in the interview at the end, someone asked him, "Did you switch putters for this event?" He's like, "Yeah, I usually use my Scotty. In the last event, I pulled a spider out and played with that." And then he just goes, "So."
Back to the Scotty.
He doesn't even say anything. He just goes, "So, yeah,
yeah,
I did change my putter." So
yeah,
I thought that was
when you're one of the best putters in the world, right? It's whatever you're comfortable with. It doesn't, branding shouldn't matter.
I don't think TaylorMade can cry too much when you're comparing Scotty Cameron. Like it's class above everyone else.
Yeah, I decided he did it in a very subtle way that I thought was brilliant. Did we watch any of the LIV this weekend?
Yeah, we watched. I probably watched more than both of you, but it they're still finding their identity, and it's not at Tulsa. It's just like it wasn't at Singapore.
Was it Tesla
That course,
or Tulsa?
Tussla?
That course did not look good. It was full of
Yeah.
mud. It was ball in hand. I forgot that event was even on for the first 2 days, and like obviously the end of it was fantastic, but it's just like, is it an Adelaide hangover? Does Adelaide need to be their final event? Like it just isn't living up to the hype. They had one big week, and then now it's just the one good thing I'll say is like the big guns of LIV are actually playing well now.
Yeah.
Probably at the right time. So,
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, even Bryson played well, and his putter let him down. He ended up almost snapping it over his knee, I saw at one point. Brooks was there, DJ was there, obviously, he goes on to win. Cam was there. Cam took over on the 16th, I think it was. I watched him play that pretty much the whole final round. It was a really good watch. And unfortunately, Cam's putting let him down on the 18th.
the playoff.
Yeah, it was
That
good.
was
I
a
mean,
bad
it was
putt.
just, but I agree with Dan. Like, it is Adelaide hangover. It's kind of like the rugby sevens were back in the day. Hong Kong sevens were like amazing, and everywhere else on the tour was just another event.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. There's no magic bullet there for LIV. I'm not sure. I think LIV Las Vegas. Give it a go.
Absolutely.
It reminds me a little bit of like tennis. Like the only time I ever watched tennis is the Australian Open, and the rest of the year I couldn't care less. I don't like, if apart from like majors, I don't think I've ever seen a single shot of a single tennis match in my life that wasn't at a major. And I think that, yeah, obviously the subpar course was one thing, but it's just not hitting. And that the playoff was great, and I'm really disappointed that Cam is the best, well, arguably one of the best putters in the world, and he had 2 reads, and then he just absolutely pushed a putt to completely miss it. I thought that was quite bad.
The other bit too, and this is probably me putting my hand up again. Oh yeah, that's right. Brandon Grace was in that playoff too. Like, who cares about Brandon Grace and like the South African team Stinger GC? Yeah, I'm like Louis, great player, big fan of Louis. But man, that was like, he might as well have not been there. There was no way he was winning that. And yeah, I don't know. Brandon Grace.
I mean, I feel like Brandon Grace, if he's able to compete, like it's one of those things where you didn't really see him too much on the PGA Tour, and then he went over to LIV, and now all of a sudden he's winning, and he's winning against guys who are not winning necessarily, but getting very close to guys who are really good and winning. So I don't know, maybe this is the push that Brandon Grace needed, but again, at the end of the day, it's like, well, he's not a big name. Do I really care about Brandon Grace? He's also the oldest looking 34-year-old I've ever seen on TV. He's just.
It's hard over there in South Africa.
Yeah.
And when someone new wins on LIV, like no one cares. But when someone new wins on the PGA, it's like Wyndham Clark last week, right? And I know Day's not a new winner, but he may as well be at this point, right? It's like such a good story. Whereas if someone new wins on LIV, it's like, oh, you're disappointed that DJ or someone didn't win, and that's the difference. And that's where they're just absolutely failing because of the way that they don't produce talent. They don't have a qualification method. It's just the guys that they were able to get. But yeah, the whole LIV thing is just, I mean, the guys who need to play well are playing well, which is a good thing for the week next week.
Yeah. And also shout out to Kurt Kitayama. I think he was another one that was really nice to see. I think he won was it the AT&T? I can't remember. It was the one where Rahm shoots like 63 in his first round, and then and then
it was earlier in the year. It was AT&T was this week. It was I remember which one it was. I can't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
He played really well. But the other thing I was going to say about LIV, I said this morning, like when they're doing that playoff, they had the music playing in the background. It was like "Call Me Maybe" or something, and I'm like, you just like, that's not reading the room. To me, it just felt yuck, and it just felt silly. It's like this old shitty song, or these 2 awesome golfers plus Brendan Gracie having a playoff. Turn their shit off and let the guys play golf without the distractions. They're already hitting out.
I mean, that's what they signed up for, though. Like,
I get it, but like even the choice of song, like I'm gonna say it was "Call Me Maybe," and it's like, mate, like that's who's picking this stuff.
I've heard that for LIV at the moment, they are doing television and marketing just awful, but they are running very fun live events Like all the golfers are going up to the kids, the players, getting a couple handshakes, autographs. Like people are having fun at the events, and maybe that will be their saving grace. I don't know.
I
We'll
think
see how it works
DJ's
out.
kids must run the Spotify playlist for the LIV tournament. Maybe just chuck on their favorites, summer mix.
Maybe. It must be. But the thing is, you can't be successful just only having good live events. It doesn't work. You can't, because like only people who live in that area can go to those events. So it's got to be better on TV. They've got to figure out a way. I know that everyone who's there looks like they're having fun, but so what? As a viewer,
I mean, if you go and you had fun,
I would like it. Yeah, I'm sure if I went to Adelaide, I would have come back with great stories, and that was a good example of that. But that was also good coverage and a good event on a good golf course.
It was also $50 a ticket, right? So
it's
pretty affordable as well.
It won't be next year, I guarantee it.
Do you think Adam Scott and Jason Day are definitely no-goes to LIV now at this point?
Absolutely.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit, was just give them props, right? Like Jason Day especially. We spoke last week about who's going to win next, and it was sort of like Adam Scott seemed to be the guy. But they could have easily just taken a shit ton of money and gone off and just done nothing and just been Brandon Gracie or whoever at LIV, but they wanted to continue their legacy, and like 13 wins on the PGA, that's a lot of wins, like especially with that much time in between. So that, to me, their legacy is like just set in stone, whereas Cam's is a little bit tainted for leaving, right? In my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, Jason was at a point in his career when they asked him where he wasn't sure either, right? He said, I think he said, ask me in 12 months to see where I am. If he hadn't been trending the right way, if he hadn't won, he probably would. He could be in LIV next year.
I mean, like he said today, he was like, I got to a point that I didn't know if I'd swing a golf club again.
Yeah.
So
but
he had
that's
a lot
the thing.
to
If you're at the point where you don't even know if you're going to swing a club, and these guys are offering you a bucket load of money to go, then it'd be so easy just to take it and play badly and be Phil Mickelson, and just play less holes, less events, and just be crap. But no, he wants to fight and be good and
I think
keep his legacy.
And I think Adam Scott was quoted last year as saying, like, just make me a really good offer. So
I feel like after the Cam Smith signing, they'd used their war chest. I feel like the money, the war chest had dried up a bit. Like they could have spent X amount on players and they got the guys they wanted, and they couldn't get guys across the line. There was a few that were close, I think. Like Adam Scott was pretty close.
They really need like one more good Aussie player to round out that Aussie team.
Maybe a couple.
Yeah.
But like Leishman was good when they signed him. I mean, he's not now, but Leishman, Cam, if they were, Herbert was playing well.
Yeah, I always felt like Leishman, he's almost like a Joel Damon. Like he's always been kind of mid-pack. Like he hasn't really played that well to become a superstar at any point. And I feel like for him, like, yeah, LIV made sense. His career wasn't getting any better. He wasn't racking up any wins. So yeah, I don't know. It's good to see them do well on the PGA, and I think for the most part the PGA is a more entertaining event. And if we didn't have any Aussies there, any good Aussies there, it wouldn't make it as special for us either. We like to follow the Aussies in those events. So I'm happy they're still in the PGA. I'm happy there's a bit of a divide. Do I wish Cam was still there? Kind of.
100%. And these aren't even elevated events, mate. Like when the elevated events come out and the big boys come and play, like it's light and day in terms of entertainment and golf quality.
Well, I mean, at least you'll see Cam and DJ next weekend.
I'm happy for that. Like
at least it's
majors, I'm all for
it.
Like,
it's such a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very, very, very hard out there next week. And have they played enough golf to be ready for an extremely hard course?
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of all the different leagues, do you guys remember a league called DP World Tour? Do you guys remember that one?
Look, the reason I mentioned it to you earlier, the DP World Tour, I used to enjoy watching the DP World Tour, man. Like I remember it'd tee off sometimes at like 7 o'clock at night our time. You watch it into the early hours. I would like watching the Ian Poulters and the Paul Caseys and the whoever else is, the other people on that tour. They're all gone. I looked at the DP World Tour leaderboard to see who was where. I didn't recognize the top 30 players.
Yeah,
I didn't know any of them. I was like, show me somebody, and there was nobody. The DP World Tour, And you know what? I heard an interview with the CEO on a different media platform, but he didn't fill me with confidence. I was kind of like, man, you guys, and then what they did last week with like re-finding Sergio, like, come on, guys, that ship has sailed. Move on. Like,
Yeah.
just they're struggling. The DP World Tour is like treading water, I feel.
I feel like they've kind of been gimped from the clash between LIV and PGA, because
Yeah.
now that all the guys who can play in PGA, who played DP World Tour, want to play in PGA, and the PGA wants them there to have a few more big names, and then they're not allowed to let the LIV guys play, or they've upheld the suspension because the PGA Tour was like, well, we won't support you if you support LIV. So they're just kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. It's a bit sad to see, but no, I always like the Dubais. Obviously Foxy's coming up there. It was great to see him do well. Fleetwood in there, even Rory. Seeing him play over there was great.
The big guys will go back for those big events, and I think that they're just playing the long game. I think that they can see that LIV's not going to last as long as PGA, and these guys are going to come crawling back and want to play in the DP World Tour. The DP's always been subpar to PGA, right? I mean, the prize for winning the DP is like a card to play the PGA. So it's no secret that it's a feeder to the PGA. And these events have always been a bit iffy. But all that tells me is that LIV just went and got the average guys out of DP to play in LIV. So now LIV sucks and DP sucks, and all it's done is made two versions of golf that suck and one version of golf that's still good.
I think DP. So, I think where you've maybe gone a bit wrong there is that I think DP's fallen from the B League to a D League, and LIV's taken over as the B League, and they're struggling. But it's a different product, so it's not the same. I feel like literally the LIV Tour has unlimited money, so the only loser is the DP World Tour. It's lost to the PGA, it's lost to LIV, it's lost viewers. The DP, it's in a state, and I don't know how they fix it.
I'd have to agree. I think the DP. Oh, sorry. I think that if I was to choose what to watch, and I had channel A being PGA, channel B being LIV, and channel C being DP, I'm gonna go for A and B first over C. I'll only go to C if I think there's nothing else on.
Foxy's in it, but like I said,
Foxy's in it.
Yeah, they're playing the long game. They're just hitching their tailcoats to the guys that have been around for 100 years, not the guys that have been around for 5 seconds. And
do you really think they're playing that much strategy?
No, they said they're going to fine you if you play every LIV event you're going to play. We're going to fine you. The court said, yep, you can do that. So they went and did it. So the guys that are making all this money, what's the problem? Just pay the fine. If you still want to play DP so bad, if you want to get your world rankings, then do both. You can, but I don't know. I think that the loser is DP, but the loser is just golf in general. I think that it's two subpar comps, and I really just care about the PGA mostly now anyway. Yeah. I'll watch the DP when Foxy comes back. Foxy's been fighting pneumonia, having babies, but he'll be back after the PGA Championship this week. Yeah. I say everyone's playing for second this week, so it'll be good to see Foxy back in Europe somewhere. And you think about Foxy's life, now he's got less competition, gets to travel around Europe, fishing in all these exotic countries, playing golf on the weekend. Man, that guy lives a fucking great life.
He does. Yeah. But he needs to finish higher in the FedEx Cup rankings to have a job, or to have all that freedom next year. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and then how it rolls on into the future. So
yeah. So on that point though, Dan and High Tees, what do you guys think of, like, overall? I know we talk about the different leagues and which league's better, but overall for golf, do you think the split in leagues is one of the worst things that happen to golf, or one of the best?
I think that the PGA Tour is as good a spot as it's been, to be honest. I don't think it's missing a couple of people, but it's almost the players are getting paid more. More people are watching it than ever for the drama. Even you got Full Swing coming out, so the tour itself's in probably better shape than it's ever been. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's been good for golfers, like the players. It's been good for them because they get more money, more exposure, whatever. I think it's been bad for the product as a whole. I think that I would love to see some of these elevated events with all of the guys in it, But maybe in the long run, when we look back after 10 years, what I'm hoping is that this gave a kick to your Kepkas, to your DJs to start playing better golf, because now they've got a reason to come and sort of show people what they can do in the majors. And if it means better majors and more drama majors, then I'm all for it, because really that's all that matters at the end of the year. People just remember the major winners, right? You remember major winners before you really care about who wins the FedEx Cup.
But on that point, Dan, you said it's bad for the product, but I feel like people are way more excited now for majors because you have these different leagues coming together and seeing actually who's the best, because you've separated
that's
them.
4 weeks. That's 4 out of 52 weeks of the year, though.
They're the best weeks of the year, though.
Of course it is, but that's always been that way. But what like the product as a whole across the year is worse because we don't get to see these guys tiered up against each other in all these elevated events. And
hey, look, Paul Casey got an exemption this week. Can we just? Paul Casey will be there because he got injured last year.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, yes, the best aren't playing each other, and I've thought about this quite a bit because I am on both sides. Like, I do want the best to play against each other. Majors are great for that, but you do get more golf as well. You get different types of products to kind of see what you like and what you don't like. And Danny Business, I can see that you definitely have decided what you don't like.
Well, you don't get more golf because it's on at the same time. So you don't. I mean, it sort of ends a little bit, and then, but like when the LIV is in America and PGA is in America, it's on the same time, and you're not really. I don't know. I could easily not watch DP or LIV and be perfectly happy, which is basically what I mean. I watch LIV at like today, and since we started doing this, but.
Yeah, look, I'm like I said, I'm a bit split, but I don't think it's necessarily bad for the product. I don't know if it's good. I think a lot more people are getting more involved in golf and getting more opinionated about what they like and what they don't like, which I don't think is a bad thing. And whether or not LIV survives, or I think DP will survive, but whether or not LIV survives, at the end of the day, I think golf as a whole will be better. So even though this is a bit of turmoil and golf's never seen a shakeup like this really before, I think overall it's good for the product. So I don't like their split, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing.
I'd have more compassion for LIV if they did something for, like, if they developed players or walked them through somehow, or if every country they went to, they just got someone from that country to play or something like that. I don't know what they would do, but
there is promotion relegation now on the Asian Tour. It's not fantastic. I mean, the Asian Tour, I know we're big supporters of it. We watch it every week, but there is promotion relegation now. If you finish at the very bottom of the LIV, you're out, and the winner of the Asian Tour gets in. So for what it's worth,
like that's going to be like.
I mean, do you know what? Actually, quite a few Australians play on the Asian Tour. Like,
no, I mean the
than
bottom
you would
of
imagine.
LIV.
Oh yeah, I mean, probably Brandon Grace.
Well, no, because he's coming third.
Probably
let's get Brandon on the pod.
Could be Ian Poulter. I don't know, but like, there's heaps of Aussies on the Asian Tour, so like, there is a little silver lining there, So, yeah.
Okay. Well, on that point, let's move on now. I'm going to hand it over to Danny Business. We're going to go over some of the major bets for this week, and I'll let him take over.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll look at the bets from last week. So last week, we'll just do a quick recap. Hayden went big guns against the field, Minwoo top 20, and Scotty outright. Simon went the field, and Brandon Wu for some reason top 20, and Adam Scott. Actually, did Brandon Wu end up finishing top 20?
Don't know.
I have a look. He
started quite bad. Yeah, you have a look.
And you gave me a red. I thought you would have looked it up.
Brandon Wu, I might have 23rd.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that this morning.
Close.
I was going to bring that up. It was very close. And then I had the Guns JD to be top 20. Been on him for months. And Hatton to win it outright. And obviously Hatton couldn't get the job done, but he did better. So the total at the moment is Danny Business is up $16.80. Shanky Watts is down $30, and Hayden Heities is down 50 cents. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to have 4 categories. They're all $10 bets, but the outright winner is a $20 bet. So we're going to go T20, T10, the top Aussie golfer, and an outright winner. So who wants to lay their bets first?
I think we've already said who I think in an earlier one who we think's going to win, and I feel like this one I had Rahm.
I had Rahm also.
No,
that's right.
Did I have Rahm or Scotty?
You had Scotty.
I had Scotty.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with Scotty.
I had JT.
And JT. All right, so we've got Rahm, JT, and Scotty is outright. So Hayden, if you want to give us your T20.
What was it? T20 and T10?
T20, then T10, yeah.
Okay, so T20 is Morikawa.
Good pick.
Morikawa for
Good
T20. Yeah,
Yep. And
Morikawa.
T10 will be Jordan Spieth.
Spieth, I like it.
Oh, actually, he's injured, so I don't know. He
Oh.
might pull out. Let's go JT.
JT.
Yep.
Alrighty. And top Aussie.
Top Aussie will be Adam Scott.
Adam Scott. Alrighty. Adam Scott. And Shanky, what do you got for T20 for us?
T20. Let's go Minwoo Lee.
Minwoo Lee again?
Throw an Aussie in there, yeah. I haven't picked him yet.
Oh, no, sorry. I was thinking about Hayden's from last week. Yeah, and what about for T10?
I want to go Fleetwood so bad, but I won't. Not this time.
Do it.
Stick to your guns.
No, well, I'm thinking about this. I don't think this is Fleetwood's course necessarily. So for top 10, I could go all Aussies here. I could go Minwoo, JD, and Scott. I'm going Adam Scott for top Aussie. I'm still backing him. I think he's trending well.
Adam Scott for top Aussie?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And your T10?
I mean, how safe to go? I could go like Dan last week and just pick the safest bets. But I'll go. I think I'll go. Like I feel like Rahm is a guarantee for top 10, right?
Yeah, but he won't pay very much. He'll only be paying like $2 or something.
Yeah.
And you need some safe bets because you're coming last at the moment.
They were all so close too, except for Field.
Yeah. We would have been awesome.
Yeah, it's bigger.
He would have been paying like $20.
Yeah. I haven't had really much time to think about this. I did really like the Morikawa bet. That probably would have been mine, but let's go Morikawa top 10. Yeah. Let's go top 10 Morikawa as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
I would have liked a bit more diversity in our picks, but I am feeling Morikawa has got something coming.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, fair enough. And for myself, I'm going to go top Aussie. I can't really go Adam Scott now because you guys have both gone him. So let's go.
I mean, we could go a pod pick. That could be the pod pick.
Nah, I want to keep this lead going. Let's go JD. Why not back to back for top Aussie? I'm gonna go top 10. I'm gonna go Ricky Fowler for a top 10. Don't know why. I just think he might be paying well. Yeah, he's in the field.
Okay.
I think he's in the field. Yeah, I'm looking at the field now. He says he's in it. And for a T20, I'm going to go for everybody's favorite, Foxy. Foxy for a T20. That's going to be paying all right. So I'm going Ryan Fox, Ricky Fowler, JD Rahm. Simon's got Minwoo Lee for a T20, Morikawa T10, Adam Scott for top Aussie, and JT for the outright. Hayden's got Morikawa, JT, Adam Scott, and Scotty Scheffler. Solid bets. I think I'm going out on a limb here, but we'll see how we go.
I'm just having a quick look at the field.
To see if Ricky's in it.
No, I might switch up Morikawa. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'll go for someone more interesting. Just go for your Tommy pick.
Morikawa is great.
But
A quick look at the field. If anyone else stands out for a top 10.
I'll tell you who I was going to go, but I didn't because
Brandon
I
Wu.
think
Cameron Young. Cameron Young top 10. I want Cameron Young top 10.
Top 10. Where are you? Cameron Young top 10. Okay, Cam Young. Who I was thinking about for a top 10 finish, who I think would be paying quite well, is Taylor Gooch. But I want to support Ricky instead. So
yeah, it's a good pick.
And I don't know if Taylor can play his fourth day when he almost shit the bed on the third day. So
the only other one that sort of pops out to me is a notable mention. Obviously, the bets are done, but Max Homa, I think he's.
Yeah, I was thinking about him.
You know what I mean? He's sort of floating around there. I just don't know if it's his week, but
it's almost like we don't want to jinx him, and he'll do well. If none of us pick him, hopefully that'll make him do well.
Maybe we just say
a bit of reverse psychology.
We'll do a side hustle.
Yeah.
Well, we can do the pod pick as Max.
I don't think he's in it, so I don't pick him.
All good. All right, well that's the bets, so we'll keep track of that. I'll tell you guys the odds when they come out. But yeah, a little bit extra coin this week for the major.
All right. Next up, we got Pick the Player. I'm going to let Hayden Hightees explain what this is and run us through it.
Cool. Yeah. All it is I saw some stats today on someone, and I just thought it was quite interesting. I'll run you through some stats of this person, and I want to see if you guys can get them. I'll give you maybe 3 guesses each, just to see if you can pick.
Do we go
person.
one each? Do we go one, two,
Yeah,
2, 3, 3?
yeah. Sure.
All right.
Okay. So
Are these all, sorry, before we begin, are these all golf stats or are these like personal, like this guy owns 5 houses?
No. These are golf stats. Okay, and I'll run through it, and then I'll let you have a turn each. Okay.
Yep.
So this is this season only on the PGA Tour. Played 11 events. This person. They've made 10 cuts. 4 top 10 finishes, of which, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to give that away. My scoring average of 69.7.
I get off the Google, Daniel.
I'm not on Google.
Yeah. Okay. No Googling.
I'm not Googling.
Scoring average 69.7. FedEx Cup rank top 30. And I don't think I can give you any of their actual finishes and events because you might figure it out. So
maybe give us another hint if we don't get it after a guess or two. Then.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah. So
Could
go
just go
back
through
over those
one more?
again?
Yeah, one more time.
So what was that? Sorry.
Just go over the stats again.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So played 11 events this year.
Mhm.
10 cuts made. So good golf. 4 top 10 finishes. So half the time making the cut, or almost making the cut every single time. Half the time top 10. 69 scoring average. Top 30 FedEx Cup. So in the money,
Morikawa.
making money. That's your first
Morikawa?
guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my first guess.
My first guess will be Ricky.
Incorrect, both of you. In the top 20 golf world rankings, and not in Australia, not from the Southern Hemisphere.
Oh, it's got to be my boy Brandon Wu. No, just kidding.
Not from the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, so it's not Foxy.
Well, I mean, he's really from everywhere, isn't
No Aussies, no Kiwis.
Oh,
South Africans.
is it Canadian? It starts with a C, double C's. What's his name?
Corey
Corey
Connors.
Connors?
Yes.
It is not. It is not.
It's, and my guess will be this is PGA events only that he made is 11 events.
I believe so. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with. No, that's not gonna be right. Top 20 in the world, you said?
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be someone stupid. I'm just gonna go with Maxi because I don't know. I can't think of anything.
It's not. Last clue is he played today.
Played today. So
Don't look at this. Don't look at this field.
I'm not looking at the field. I don't have the field open.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of who was in last week's event, who's not this week.
He played today. Did he do well today?
T4 at the Arnold Palmer. T3 at Wells Fargo. T2 at the Players Championship.
Oh shit! I should know this now.
It's Tyrrell Hatton, boys. Tyrrell Hatton.
I was gonna say that.
He is making money and he is in good form.
I've been on it for months, mate. We got to get some bits in.
Tyrrell Hatton. I just thought that was fantastic for the young man. And for those that are watching, I actually took a picture of the graphic they used when they were showing this on TV.
Like, it's fine.
Tyrrell Hatton. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? 4 top 10s out of 11 events, 10 cuts.
Well done to Tyrell, and shout out to that commercial he did where he pretended he was from. Was he? You know, he pretended he was from
Foxy.
Psycho, American Psycho. Yeah,
that was great with the business cards, and Tommy Fleetwood and Foxy was in it.
Yeah, I think it was just a DP World Tour ad, but
it was all time. See, the DP World Tour is making moves. How can you say it's fading with ads like that?
Well, that was great. That was great marketing for DP, but they're on PGA now. Everyone who's in that ad.
They're literally all on the PGA or live. Oh, anyway.
Or just doing one, or you got multiple here?
No, there's just the one. I thought it was real interesting. I like Tyrrell Hatton. He is us. We are him. He's an angry golfer. He throws his clubs. He swears. He blames everyone else. I just love it. It's us every weekend. It's fantastic. Well,
Do we
it's
get-
Dan. It's Dan, but yeah, it's us.
I was gonna say, is it all of us? Well, that's great. Awesome, guys. Another episode wrapped up. I feel like we had a good chat this week, and looking forward to next week as well.
I have one closing remark.
Yeah.
A friend of ours who listens said to me today, rang me and said, I really, really liked the last episode. He's like, you guys have made me want to play golf.
Wow. Positive influence.
So
if only Liv could do that.
shout out to the bro. I know he listens, avid listener, subscriber, donates, but yeah, wants to play more golf because he likes to sing about it.
Well, if he wants to get into golf, next week is a great week because we have the PGA Championship. All the best will be there. I look forward to talking to you guys on Monday. Peace out.
See ya. Yeah, he's actually. You gotta stop the recording.
He's gone to bed. He's actually gone to bed.
How do you stop the recording?
I don't know.
he's left instead of stopping the recording.
I forgot to turn it off. Hold on, here we go.